On June 21, 2025, the U.S. Air Force executed Operation Midnight Hammer, a precision strike employing 7 B-2 Spirit stealth bombers from the 509th Bomb Wing at Whiteman Air Force Base, Missouri, supplemented by Tomahawk cruise missiles launched from a U.S. Navy submarine. In total, over 125 aircraft participated, including F-22 Raptors, F/A-18 Super Hornets, EA-18G Growlers, and more than 24 KC-135 Stratotankers for in-flight refueling. The B-2s delivered 14 GBU-57 Massive Ordnance Penetrators, MOPs, the U.S.'s largest non-nuclear bombs, against Iran's key uranium enrichment facilities at Fordo, Natanz, and Isfahan. Satellite imagery and Pentagon briefings indicate severe above-ground structural damage at Isfahan and deep penetration at Fordo. Though a full damage assessment remains ongoing, tensions between the U.S. and Iran's nuclear program have escalated over 2 decades. Following covert sabotage incidents and cyber attacks like Stuxnet in the early 2010s, Israel intensified its own strikes beginning June 13, 2025. Focusing on ventilation shafts at Fordo and Natanz without fully neutralizing underground centrifuge halls. These partial successes set the stage for a more decisive U.S. intervention. President Donald Trump, campaigning on ending perpetual foreign engagements, faced mounting pressure from defense officials to halt Iran's progress toward a weaponizable nuclear capability, a scenario U.S. intelligence estimates could materialize within months if unchecked. According to retired General Robert Spalding, the mission represented over a decade of strategic planning involving weapon engineering, stealth doctrine refinement, and sophisticated deception. U.S. planners deployed decoy bomber formations to Andersen AFB in Guam and overflew alternate routes to conceal the true strike vector. Simultaneously, aerial refueling tracks were disguised by Ghost KC-135 tankers orbiting outside Iranian radar coverage. Electronic warfare preparations by EA-18G Growlers ensured Iran's long-range SAM sites remained confused, feeding false data to defensive networks. This multifaceted ruse minimized early warning indicators, allowing the strike package to penetrate Iranian airspace undetected. Operation Midnight Hammer leveraged a global network of allied bases. Alongside Whiteman AFB, U.S. forces pre-positioned tanker assets and fighter escorts at Al Udeid Air Base, Qatar, Naval Support Facility Diego Garcia, and Andersen AFB, Guam. These forward locations provided secure staging areas, reducing flight distance to target zones and splitting the mission into manageable segments. Rear party units in Saudi Arabia and the Arabian Sea sustained tanker loiter patterns, while carrier strike groups launched F/A-18 Super Hornets and EA-18G Growlers for escort and CAD, suppression of enemy air defenses, operations. This combined arms approach amplified survivability and operational reach across the Middle East and Indo-Pacific theaters. The strike package's backbone comprised 7 B-2 Spirit bombers, each with 2 internal bomb bays optimized for large payloads, and a spectrum of support aircraft. F-22 Raptors joined the return leg, offering air superiority cover, while E-3 AWACS provided real-time battle management. F/A-18s swept known air defense corridors before the B-2's arrival, and EA-18Gs executed electronic jamming to suppress radar emissions. KC-135 Stratotankers conducted 6 to 7 mid-air refuelings per bomber over the 18 to 30-hour mission. Operators maintained strict emission control, EMCON, to minimize radio and radar signatures, ensuring stealth throughout transit and egress. The B-2's flying wing design and radar-absorbent materials afforded an exceptionally low radar cross-section. Flight paths were plotted over mountainous deserts and the Persian Gulf to evade known SAM clusters. Pilots adhered to a rigid schedule of rest cycles and cockpit resource management to mitigate fatigue. In the tanker box over Saudi airspace, KC-135 crews synchronized refuels within tight time windows as Growlers broadcast electronic noise to jam enemy radars. Ground controllers at U.S. Central Command monitored multispectral sensor feeds, ready to reassign assets if Iranian air defenses attempted last-minute interceptions. This seamless orchestration exemplified modern multi-domain synergy. Central to the strike's destructive power was the GBU-57 EMOP. Weighing 30,000 lb, 14,000 kg, the bomb features a monolithic high-performance steel casing and 4 lattice fins for glide inertial guidance. Lacking its own propulsion, the MOP relies on altitude-derived kinetic energy and GPS-INS updates to adjust its descent toward underground targets. Capable of penetrating over 200 ft of reinforced concrete and soil, it is the largest conventional weapon in the U.S. arsenal. Each B-2 carried 2 MOPs, released from its internal bays to minimize radar signature, enabling a standoff delivery that bypassed surface defenses. Fordow. Situated under a mountain near Qom, Fordow's centrifuge halls lie beneath at least 100 ft of geological overburden. Initial Israeli strikes failed to breach these depths, but U.S. MOPs reportedly fractured multiple reinforced vaults, collapsing key underground chambers. Natanz. Featuring sprawling above-ground workshops and underground halls, Natanz sustained extensive above-ground destruction, crippling assembly and testing facilities. Isfahan. The above-ground power and control infrastructure received significant damage, severing electrical and ventilation systems critical to enrichment operations. Satellite analysis confirms crater formations up to 30 ft deep at Fordow and breaches in perimeter walls at Isfahan. Full site reconstitution could take years, delaying Iran's breakout timeline substantially. As the bombers withdrew, Iranian air defenses activated M29 Sagar missiles and legacy F-14 Tomcats, but lacked the sensor fidelity and coordination to engage stealth aircraft. Growlers continued spectrum-wide jamming, while F-18s armed with AIM-120 AMRAAMs patrolled intercept corridors. Decoy drone swarms and expendable radar reflectors, corner cube decoys, diverted SAM tracking, inducing surface batteries to launch on false targets. Electronic countermeasures maintained navigational updates for friendly aircraft, allowing a clean egress despite Iran's best efforts. This multi-layered defense suppression minimized risks and underscored the U.S. ability to adaptively counter-layered air defenses. Within hours, Iran fired ballistic missiles at Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar, likely Fateh 110 and Qiyam-1 variants. Coalition early warning systems intercepted several warheads, and no casualties were reported. The U.S. responded by activating Patriot batteries in the region and repositioning carrier strike groups to deter further escalation. Diplomatic channels, including back-channel talks via Oman and Switzerland, reopened to manage escalation risks. Meanwhile, market reactions were muted. Oil futures spiked modestly, but global supply remained stable, thanks to Allied naval escorts safeguarding Gulf shipping lanes. Operation Midnight Hammer represents a doctrinal shift from proxy containment toward direct kinetic action against nuclear infrastructure. It underscores a willingness to employ extreme precision force to enforce non-proliferation objectives. Domestically, President Trump's decision garnered both bipartisan praise for averting a potentially catastrophic nuclear capability and criticism over executive war powers. Internationally, the strikes complicate U.S. relations with European allies wary of unilateral military measures, even as NATO partners privately commend the operation's surgical execution. Iranian government, Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei, isolated during the attack, has not issued direct statements, while Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi denounced the strikes as reckless violations of the UN Charter and NPT. The Atomic Energy Organization of Iran vowed legal action in international courts and pledged to continue enrichment. asserting minimal radiological impact on nearby communities' global community. The UN Secretary-General expressed concern over potential civilian harm and called for restraint. Non-aligned states voiced alarm at the precedent of strikes on nuclear facilities, urging renewed diplomatic engagement. Israel praised the operation but cautioned against broader regional conflagration. Operation Midnight Hammer delivered a crippling blow to Iran's nuclear infrastructure, leveraging stealth technology, massive ordnance, and integrated electronic warfare in an unprecedented long-range mission. While the immediate threat of underground enrichment has been curtailed, Iran's resolve to rebuild remains, setting the stage for a protracted cycle of military posturing and diplomatic brinkmanship. As regional actors recalibrate their strategies, the U.S. faces the challenge of balancing deterrence with pathways to negotiation, ensuring that this demonstration of force ultimately advances non-proliferation and global stability rather than entrenching conflict.